Very good, sir. Thank you. This is the September 23rd City of Crescent Springs City Council meeting. Call the meeting in order. We'll have a prayer, a pledge, and the prayers. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lord, we come before you today as we meet to discuss the business of the city. We ask that you put our residents and those that visit our city in our minds and in our hearts as we make the decisions that guide us along the way. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Roll call, please.
John Kiley.
Here.
Carol McGowan. Here. Janine Bell Smith. Present. Mark Wittenberger. Bob Mueller.
Here.
Brian Barclay.
Here. Thank you all very much. First item of business is the August 26th council meeting minutes that you received in your packets.
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? Anybody?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion on the August 26 minutes? Roll call, please.
John Kiley.
Yes.
Carol McGowan. Yes. Janine Bell Smith. Yes. Bob Mueller.
Yes.
Brian Barclay.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is the special meeting from September 10th. The first off is the public hearing minutes.
I make a motion to approve those.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on those? Roll call, please.
John Kiley.
Yes.
Carol McGowan. Yes. Janine Bell Smith. Yes. Bob Mueller.
Yes.
Brian Barclay.
Yes.
Thank you. Next are the minutes from the September 10th special meeting.
I'll go on a roll. Make a motion to approve those too.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
John Kiley.
Yes.
Carol McGowan. Yes. Janine Bell Smith. Yes. Bob Mueller.
Yes.
Brian Barclay.
Yes.
Thank you all very much. So we have a couple presentations this evening. The first is the NKDD Executive Director, Tara Johnson-Noem, who also has just been awarded Nonprofit Executive of the Year. So congratulations.
Chris.
No, Chris, in her place, I apologize. But congratulations to her. Chris, would you come up and introduce yourself, and then thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, employees of the city. Glad to be here. My name is Chris Corba. I'm the Director for Finance and Administration for the Northern Kentucky Area Development District. Tara sends her condolences for not being able to attend, so you got the finance guy instead, so my apologies in advance. But we've got part of our strategic plan for the next 3 years was to get more out in the community, kind of remind folks what we do. We're here to help, how we can do that. So we're hitting all of our cities, counties, and everything in between, all the municipalities in the last 6 months of this year, which are the first 6 months of our fiscal year. So we're a good 70% of the way through. So just want to come out, introduce ourselves, kind of give you a brief overview. And my presentation will be a little shorter because once I saw Amanda was on the docket too, I usually like to talk about Office of Drug Control Policy too a little bit. And I'm going to let her do that because I can't really do it good enough with her in the room. Just a little bit about Northern Kentucky Area Development District. We're a quasi-government organization set forth by Kentucky General Assembly in 1971. We've got a lot of programs and projects. I'll work in a nutshell, really summed up as collaboration, empowerment, and convene. The NKDD is a collaboration of local leaders and staff supporting and empowering communities by convening stakeholders implementing quality service. We have a lot of really intelligent people, and you can tell that from that statement. The NCAD leverages specific areas of expertise in aging and disability services, community development and planning, Office of Drug Control Policy. This man is going to tell you everything you need to know about that. Financial compliance and management, that's my role, that's where I come in. Food insecurity support, local government services, and workforce development. One of our newest, and if you've known about the Northern Kentucky Area Development District or known about the other 14 in the state, like our community development planning used to be an arm that we had many years ago, and we've actually brought that back through a grant we got at the beginning of the fiscal year with R.C. Durr Foundation. So if you guys know Katie Jo Kirkpatrick, she's our new associate director in that role. And it's really to kind of help get out into the smaller southern counties and really kind of get them, because Kent, Boone, and Campbell, well, tax revenue, they got a nice supply, they've got great employees, they've got great resources. They leverage us very strategically. Our southern counties don't have the full-time staff, don't have the tax base. We can help them out in different ways. So she's doing a lot with them. But just kind of wanted to walk you through, kind of give you a rundown of some of our programs very quickly, just to kind of get you some exposure. We had a $36 million budget here to close the fiscal year 2024, and everyone in the room should collectively go, wow, that's a really large budget. It is. A lot of that is tied up in our aging and disability services. A majority, and by a majority about 85%, is tied up in our CDO and labor claims program. You're probably going, oh, that sounds fun. What's that? So as we see a lot of our baby boomers are starting to retire, our aging population is starting to retire. That's expanding here in this country. And what we do is to help those people stay in their home longer and have the care that they need. The CDO waiver program helps to set them up with maybe a spouse that is in charge of taking care of them, and we have representatives that check in, make sure they're getting the care they need, or if it's a neighbor, or if it's a child, they can go ahead and sign up through Medicaid and get the waiver program, and they employ their spouse or their child or a nephew or a niece or someone that they choose to take care of them and ensure that they're being looked after and able to live independently. Because they go, the baby boomers were that first generation that kind of started putting their parents in homes, had a really bad experience. That generation does not want to go into a retirement home. You're seeing that, even though the retirement homes have been improved, that whole model's changed. You're just seeing that group really wants to stay in their home, and this is a great program that allows people to stay in their home where they're comfortable, where they enjoy, for as long as possible. I've given Miss April, several of our aging and disability guys, it's going to be a big service. And it's growing leaps and bounds. It's about $3.5 million a month is what kind of passes through in that. You're going to hear about this more kind of as out-of-town folks come in, kids come in at the holidays, see mom and dad, and kind of notice maybe they aren't operating as good as they used to. And they're going to come to the city, the churches, perhaps the schools, and go, hey, we've noticed this, we're looking for help. And they go, this is a great place for you guys to come in. Like I said, we're hitting a lot of people here, a lot of the community for the holidays. This is strategic because you'll see this kind of uptick as the kids come back for the holidays. Notice mom and dad kind of moving a little slower, might need a little help. It's a great program. Another program that runs out of aging and disabilities is Meals on Wheels that many of you are probably very familiar with. And that's always very buzzy around Frankfort. It's one of those things that can directly link, hey, here's the money, we feed seniors, guaranteeing those meals. So those are just some of those programs. And aging and disability, make sure that got 167,000 meals out in the last fiscal year. So a very large program in its own. But our commodity warehouse is down in Union. Our community and development planning, just kind of high level is brownfield assessment grants. They connect to a revolving loan fund. I'm routinely working on that as part of the FNA. That's Chris Courtney. But for any reason, as I saw you guys got that grant for the fire department for new equipment. That's a perfect example of some of the things we'll do is cities will kind of reach out to us, go, hey, we're looking for funding, we're looking for this. Here's what we're looking to do. What kind of grants are you guys aware of? What kind of grants can you help us apply for? What might we be aware of that you guys aren't, just because you're looking at city level and we're looking at more at the county region level. So that's where Chris and Katie Jo really come in very nicely. Another big thing is our workforce development and really the Kentucky Career Services. So the unemployment offices, we're going ahead and getting those staff, putting those in each county, whether those are in local libraries like in Carrollton or Owen, or whether they're standalone centers like we see in Kenton and Campbell. We're the ones that are getting those out and getting those up and running, and then bringing in subs to go ahead and operate those. But those are some of those on the big end. And Office of Drug Control Policy, if you're going to have a touch point with the Kentucky Area Development District, it's most likely going to be between Aging and Disability Services, calling that helpline or calling in for Office of Drug Control Policy. Both are high touch point entities for us. But they go, hand out this pamphlet for you, because I know I'm dumping a lot of information for you, and I know we're getting rain, so everyone's like, oh, what's this falling from the sky? We're not used to that here in Northern Kentucky anymore. But you go, it kind of gives a quick touch base on the front. On the back, it shows you our senior centers, our career centers, our senior care facilities. It gives you the numbers to call, so if somebody calls you, it's great for the police to know about. I know Amanda and our aging does great in reaching out to them and getting them aware. But it also tells you, hey, we have 39 board members, and who those board members are. The judge executive at every county is one of our board members, and then each city has representation based on size. Many cities are eligible in our next fiscal year based on the 2020 census to actually increase in membership. So we're actually trying to narrow our board down a little bit, and our board's actually going to grow by about 8 members. On this too, we also have our senior leadership team, executive director, myself, and each associate director is on there. So if you guys run into questions, or you guys are reading through this and thinking about it later, and you have a specific question, please do not hesitate to email or call either one of us. We're more than happy to help. If you guys get one of those questions from the community, you can do a direct handoff to us, and we won't stop until they get the care and service and the answer that they were looking for. Once again, we're a very broad and deep organization. I can talk about it a long time, but to go about 8 minutes is a nice sweet spot, since you guys are going to hear all about the Office of Drug Control Policy and what they do. So go with that. What questions do you have for me? How can we help? Thank you for your time.
Anyone have any questions for Chris?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Much appreciated for your time tonight.
Next is Amanda Peters from the Kenton County Law Enforcement Navigators Collaborative.
Yes, I'll talk about the multi-jurisdictional law enforcement navigator initiative. So again, Chris introduced me. I'm Amanda Peters. I'm the director of the Office of Drug Control Policy. So I work directly for the judges executives of Boone and Campbell counties. So we have a board, and we are a public safety, public policy, and public health board. And the NCAD serves as my fiduciary agent. And they house my staff at their building part-time. Our other office, and where my office is located, is at the Life Learning Center down in Covington. So I mentioned a few of those things because I'm going to be sprinkled in what this program is going to be about. And so what I put in front of you tonight is one pager about the law enforcement navigator program. And then most of you have a printed out PowerPoint. I didn't bring enough, but I'm going to email those to Mike, and I know you've seen it, so you didn't get one. And then our 2023 overdose report, if you're interested in what we see there. And then on the back is our helpline, kind of numbers. And then also a couple pamphlets. And so what we really want to do is connect people to all the resources that they need, considering treatment and recovery. And so this is that book here. Our helpline number is on the back. And in here, it really kind of shows how we are attacking substance use disorders, co-occurring disorders, and addiction from a community response level. And so we do that across a couple disciplines of prevention, treatment, recovery, reentry, and harm reduction. The last thing I have for you is a postcard. So the Life Learning Center serves as our reentry hub. And so what these folks do down there is really aim to get folks back into the workforce. A lot of times folks are going right from a law enforcement encounter or from a detention center down to the Life Learning Center. And in the back, you'll see some information about our helpline and some of the resources you can get there. So why is all of this important? Well, as we start talking about these multi-jurisdictional law enforcement navigators, I want you to see the infrastructure that is built up around this, because this is really a community collaboration. And so what we're hoping to do in the next 12 months is have 18 law enforcement navigators, police social workers throughout Northern Kentucky through the 3 counties. Each county is chosen a different name, but they're basically doing the same thing. So I'm here to talk about local opioid abatement money. And so what we're hoping is that if you're interested, is to take your local dollars to partner with the other cities as well as the county to really roll these out. And so there's not quite going to be enough from each city, but together we can capitalize on that money, and then the county is willing to put in any extra dollars that are needed. In Campbell County, we currently have 4 between the county and the cities of Highland Heights and Alexandria. In Boone County, we have 3. In Kenton County, it's a little bit different setup. We have a quick response team, which is Mike Richmond, Officer Richmond, and some different folks at Life Learning Center, peer support specialists, that go out and try to connect people to services after an overdose or a law enforcement encounter. That peer support specialist goes in with lived experience and really says, hey, I've been there, let's get you into some services and let's get you back to work. This isn't working for your life anymore. So I wanted to talk about how these referrals work. So the law enforcement navigator will be part of the Kenton County Police Department. They're not a sworn officer, but they're considered a second responder. So they are part of the force, but they don't carry a gun. They'll have a radio, they'll have some other equipment, and they'll be able to respond with an officer when needed. And so they go through the dispatch records, they go through the CAD system reports, and they can take officer referrals. Because we have those duplicate calls that folks come back, and we're seeing that police are considered to be that last kind of safety net, where folks will call for anything. They'll call if their washer breaks, they call if their roof is down, they call if they have a code enforcement issue. And so we're expecting police officers to handle social problems. And throughout our counties and our region, what we've seen is about 80% of the calls that come through dispatch are socially oriented. They're domestic violence, which there's criminal and criminogenic behavior connected to those, but it's driven from domestic violence, mental health crisis, and substances, whether it be drugs or alcohol. So these police navigators, law enforcement navigators, will be able to look at those reports, and then they go out to the houses and connect them. And we've been able to see incarceration rates, recidivism rates, and that local burden on the police significantly decrease where this has already been rolled out. We've been enjoying this in Northern Kentucky in some form or fashion since 2015, and our area has had the first police social worker in the state. My office in 2018 was able to get a grant, and we had the first multi-jurisdictional police social worker. So we know what we're doing here. We are leaders in the state. In a lot of ways, Kentucky leads the nation, and we're able to influence policy across the United States, especially with police social working or community-oriented policing. So again, what does this page talk about? So I've been through a few city council meetings, and folks want to know, how does this really work? So referrals can come in through officers. They can connect straight with this law enforcement navigator. They can read the Kentucky Ops system, the CAD reports, the dispatch reports. Family members can call in. Community members can call into this navigator, or they can even call my helpline as a central hub, and we can go out to those, get the information out to the area that needs to be, to get that help. We have follow-ups. As I go around, our officers want to know, how am I going to hear about the cases? Well, you guys get to decide, along with your police department, partnering with Kenton County Police Department and Chief Jones. Do you want your police officers will be able to talk about, do they want referral same day? Do they want an informal call? Do they want to be able to text? All of that is negotiable. Whatever works best for your city and your police force, we can make happen. Reporting. With opiate abatement money, there's tons of reporting coming down. The state's starting to get a handle on it now that they're a couple of years in, and so the county will be able to do that reporting, and my office can do the technical assistance, which we've done in the past with community partners around the region. And so they'll be able to track how many encounters, how many social-oriented calls, how many follow-ups, how many interactions, how many connections to services. And so what these law enforcement navigators can do is do even more than eviction. We're talking about veteran services, housebound folks who need to get food. We're talking about folks that may have job issues. You know, if we have somebody with their refrigerator outside on their porch and they're not able to feed their kids, then we definitely have some food insecurity, and we might have a job issue. And so those police navigators can work together and connect them with the local resources that they know. A lot of time these navigators are calling our helpline, which is a resource hub. So we have all the resources in the area. We know where every food pantry is. We know where the bus lines are. We know where to get utility assistance, and we can help them take the burden off, even those police navigators, to be able to do more work directly with our community members and our police officers. Some of the program objectives is, of course, to decrease non-fatal and fatal overdoses. In our region last year, we held steady with the 3 counties at 141 deaths. We didn't go up or down, and I know that's not too encouraging, but I'm actually encouraged by it, because I thought we were gonna see much higher numbers, just because of the substances that are out there. You know, Northern Kentucky does not have a heroin problem. We have a fentanyl and a methamphetamine, a xylazine, a stimulant, and a polysubstance use, and alcohol is still our #1 problem in the region. So we are trying to attack this at all points, and these drugs are just more potent and deadly. We're seeing folks getting caught up in some of this that I've never really thought they would be. There was a lot of illicit pills out there. We see college kids think they're getting Adderall because they want to stay up and study, and it's pure fentanyl. So we're getting out the word, and the police navigators were able to do this as well, to do some community outreach, do some prevention, stigma reducing efforts to make sure everybody knows that one pill can kill, and we're here to offer help, and you just can't experiment anymore. It's just too deadly. That's some of the reasons why our numbers have held steady. So I'm not going to go too far in detail about that, but that's what the sheet shows. And then on the back is really about Helpline, and it gives our zip codes of where our callers are calling from and the different, the way our calls go up and down. And as you can see, from January of this year till June, we had a 99% increase of calls. We're getting the word out. People need more help. And if you look at dispatch records like I do, we are in the middle of a mental health crisis that is just going to get worse. And so we're going to need these police navigators even more. So we want to decrease those overdoses. We want to support those individuals and families and our community partners, our schools, our FRISCs, those family resource folks down at the schools. They are just going round and round needing services. We want to be able to build more of a team and be able to give them more resources and take some of the burden off of those as well. We want to decrease that local municipality burden. It costs cities and counties a lot of money between police, EMS, and public works, all the things that are using to attack this. And then at the county level, we're looking at the detention centers and jails in our area. We want to decrease all of that. So of course we want to save lives, but we also want to ease that taxpayer burden, of course. We want to get them out of the emergency room. We want them to stop circling the drain between these services and really get connected to build their life back, their sustainability, and then again, get back into that workforce. And then most importantly for this is we want to give tools to your law enforcement agents. They're getting stuck in calls, and their time is being eaten up by these social calls and these families that keep calling back because they just have nowhere else to go. Well, now we're creating a solution that can attack all of these things at the same time. And so if we put the investment on the front end, we're hopefully within the next couple of years, we're going to see that decrease on that back end. So a little bit about that. How does my office and how does Life Learning Center come into play here? Well, I'm going around talking about all this. I know a little bit about it. We ran QRT teams. We've been out knocking on doors after overdose. We connect folks to services all day long. The Life Learning Center is our hub. You have Alicia Webb-Edgington, the president and CEO down there, who has been a state representative. She knows policy. She has been a state trooper, and she has served on national and international homeland security and narcotics opioid task force throughout Africa and the United States. So you have some folks that really know it at the national level with law enforcement. And then you have myself, who's an expert locally and at the state level here. So we're here to help them. These folks will be housed at the Life Learning Center, where my staff is part-time and where my main office is. And so we'll be able to target their issues right away. There's not going to be a lag time. They're not going to spend months and months training. There's not going to be months and months of data collection on how to do that. We're ready to go, and we'll be down there to help them right there. One of the other things we have in our region is a multidisciplinary reentry and recovery team. And so that is a partnership with your Commonwealth's Attorney's Office. It's a diversion program, which anyone that Rob Sanders can let out and put into diversion, we're doing that. But this isn't voluntary. This is involuntary if they go to jail, and so we are monitoring them with this team that works there with Officer Richmond, with my office, to make sure that if they're doing what they need to do, then we're going to get them right into the services and get them off probation and parole. And again, get them back in the workforce and reunite them with their family in the best way possible. Some other things of technical assistance, which I will get into, like software and some other policies because it's just boring, but I'm happy to go more in detail if anyone would like that. So I know I've covered a lot. I did put a sample budget. This is just an estimate. It costs one of these positions about $100,000. And so depending on how much money you're getting, we're working on the interlocal agreement with the county attorney's office. Stacy Packey is heading up that point. And so, again, working out the details will be between, your council here, the police department, and then the fiscal court. But the fiscal court is willing to put any extra money that we need to make that happen. Our goal is to add 3 more police social workers, police navigators through the county level. I believe Independence is going to be coming on their own, so that's going to add another one to the region. And it's a bigger area, and Erlanger already has one as well. So these multi-jurisdictional positions will not be covering Independence or Erlanger. Independence still needs to vote, but that's where they're heading, so I don't want to speak for them. But there will be a network, and we also know our folks go between the counties and cities, so they'll be able to work together in that way as well. We have weekly meetings every Monday from 9 to 11. It's called our situation table, where us and Life Learning Center and some of our social services and all the police navigators, police social workers come together and say, okay, these are our hardest cases to serve, and I know they were over in Erlanger, but now they're in Alexandria. Who's taking this on? So we're not duplicating services, and we're leveraging those resources and maximizing time. Again, that's a lot. What questions do you have for me?
Did I hear you say you work with Brighton Center?
We do work with Brighton Center, absolutely.
And in the housing, you've got an address of West 18th. Is that the building that's at Holman, Woodburn, and which one are you looking at? Where you said you do housing, and where your office is?
Oh, I have an office at Life Learning Center in Covington.
Is that at Holman, Woodburn, and?
No, that's on, it's West, 18th West 20th Street. Or 20th West 18th Street.
20 West 18th Street?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then, do you have a way of follow-up for 4 or 5 years as far as determining success rates?
Absolutely. We do have some evaluation metrics that we're using. My goal is to get us all in the same software. We're still deciding on which one to use. There's basically 2 softwares to use. Mine is Apricot. Another one is called Soma, and that's what the previous police social workers have been using. And so there's data passed, and that you'll be able to keep that and run reports and see the difference. We can compare that to the CAD reports and dispatch records. Absolutely.
So you said this program has somewhat worked since 2015.
Yes.
At this point in time, do you have some kind of a percentage when it comes to a success rate?
I do. I don't have them with me.
Roughly?
Yes, I can tell you that 20% of the calls from dispatch in Alexandria, social-oriented, have gone down by 20% just in the last year.
Okay, and then when you report the overdose deaths, you've got them done by county?
Yes,
If someone made a call to you, could you break it down by city?
yes, I can.
To where we would want to know
Absolutely.
deaths in this family or in this
Yes,
city of
yes.
residence?
So one thing I do want to tell you about overdoses is the way it's categorized. And so the fatal overdoses are tracked by the zip code in which was last registered. So if somebody even moves to Florida, but their last address was in Crescent Springs, it's going to be counted as one of yours.
Well, we share other cities.
Yes.
with it, that's still good.
So we have that, and non-fatal is exactly the opposite. So when you're looking at your non-fatal overdose rates, it's where it happens. So we are working with the state in partnership with the Northern Kentucky Health Department and Vital Statistics to see if we can straighten that out a little bit, because the data is a little skewed there. But I can break it down, and I can provide more information if you'd like.
Oh, well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Can I ask a couple follow-ups? on that?
Absolutely.
So, with what you just said, and it made me think of this, but if there's a party in Crescent Springs and there's 5 overdoses, is that 5 non-fatal overdoses that
Yes.
Crescent Springs just inherited?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, it was a great presentation, thank you very much. Very clear, easy to follow. So what commitment are you looking for? Are you looking for that $100,000 between the fiscal court and what the city would be giving to add this officer on? So a responsibility between those 2 entities of $100,000.
Not exactly. So we want to add 3, and we're seeing what other cities are interested.
So everybody shares in the pot. Okay.
Exactly. And depending on what you're willing to give, Judge Jochman has given his word that he's going to fill in the rest of the gap because he's so passionate about this.
Okay.
And the other thing I do want to say, I want to mention, I want to be completely transparent, is there's some cities that aren't getting money. Morning View, some of the smaller cities, they would be covered if they would want to participate in this over the navigators. And the navigators would be getting a zone. So it wouldn't be like you would have 4, just whoever. Your police department would have one main one, and they would be connecting with them weekly. But there would be cross-training in case someone goes on vacation or holidays or something like that.
Just to refresh this group's memory, we're talking about the funding we received from opioid that we received, and it's a little under 17K. So just a reminder of that.
We already voted to give. We already voted to go in with the collaborative, if I'm not mistaken.
We have not.
We have not.
Okay.
You had mentioned to, and help me walk through this, that there was a significant reduction. I think you mentioned 20% of a success rate or a drop in Campbell County, and that's fine. And then you had also mentioned that the hope would be a savings on the back end of getting folks in the ecosystem, getting them in,
Yes.
and getting them back in there. What is your, I mean, so one, where does that ROI come from? What's the projection of the ROI? Because, you know, if you drop police calls for social issues by, say, 60%, that doesn't mean that Villa Hills is going to cut an officer from payroll. So where does that savings come from this program?
So what we're hoping is that you're going to have less of those runs out. So if somebody calls dispatch and they're going to one of those houses, I go all the time, is that, you know, once we get them connected to services, we're seeing that you're not having those duplicate runs all the time. And the other thing is what we're seeing is once these folks get connected, whether it be in Erlanger, Highland Heights, Alexander, or even at the county level, is then they will connect directly with that navigator. And then they have follow-up. Depending on the severity of the case, it could be weekly, it could be monthly, and then after the monthly, it kind of goes to 60, 90, 180 days if there's no other issues. If not, these folks are talking weekly to making sure that they're connected to services. And so then you're going to see less calls into dispatch, and the police aren't running out, and then they're making those connections there. And then you're going to see, hopefully, a reduction from your EMS as well during those runs.
I think it would come more from the EMS side. I mean,
For overdoses.
the police side of it's pretty static, right? Like, I mean, even if you drop, 100 calls a year or 500 calls a year, it doesn't equate to an officer off of payroll, nor should it. I agree that this socially and on the human side is absolutely something that everybody should be a part of. I'm just having a hard time connecting what the projected ROI would be and how you're getting to that. Which is fine. I mean, it could be for another conversation, but those are my questions. You had mentioned the 100,000 annually, where the officers would be. One other thing. I noticed that Crescent Springs does not have representation from Kenton County, but there's a lot, and I believe I heard 8 more were going to come online. Will Crescent Springs have a seat at that table moving forward and the next?
I'm not sure I understand the question. I'm sorry.
Right now on the board, I believe Chris brought it up, was that every city has representation.
Oh,
and
so I
there's
have a
more seats.
separate board.
Okay.
So I'm not.
Sorry, I confused you.
No, absolutely. And we're
Okay.
usually not at the same place.
That's fine.
Yes.
So
They're not
question
going to
for
share
Chris.
anything. Yes.
Will Crescent Springs get a seat at the table moving forward?
I do not recall that listing specifically. I used to live in Villa Hills, so I'm like, I know Villa Hills was like 80 people short, and I remember looking at theirs, but I don't remember Crescent Springs off the top of my head.
Well, they have 3,000 more people than we do, so if
Yeah.
they're 80 short, we're
Yeah, I was like,
short.
they were, but I go, I think they already have a seat, so I think they were like short of a second one, but I do not recall off the top of my head. My apologies.
Thank you.
And again, a lot of this is up for negotiation. If we want to have a collaborative of all city leaders meeting once a month, then absolutely we're going to do that. We're a board that's, at discretion of the fiscal courts. My helpline is funded by the 3 fiscal courts in St. Elizabeth Helpline. My salaries come straight from the counties. More will be county administrator. And so our money comes from 3 different places. And so we don't have a blueprint from the state around like the area development districts. So we if that's what you want, we can make that happen, absolutely. For reviews, and then also for the reports, is that you guys would be able to weigh in and say, do you want those monthly, do you want those quarterly? Some of them only have to be quarterly as far as overdoses, they're projected. We can only get those from the state. We can't do those quite locally. We're trying to figure that out with the coroner. But there's some things that we can do monthly, as well as how many calls are coming in, how many calls came in, social calls came in the month before, and really be able to kind of see that trend and if we're making a difference.
I would love to have a seat at a table that we're helping fund.
Absolutely.
I mean, at least for conversational, even if it's not a voting member. I mean, I sit on boards that I'm not a voting member, but just being there for steerage and strategy and conversations and reporting back. I
agree.
would petition for us to have representation at every table that we're putting money on. So,
Yeah, we can make that happen.
generally speaking.
When will the ILA be available for us to review?
So I gave a draft to Kenton County and one to Campbell County. Campbell County has finished theirs, and so I just sent it to Kenton to review to see if there's anything else that they wanted to add. And so I believe I might have it by the end of the week. And so I did let County Attorney Tappy know, is, hey, my cities want to see this review. But we did have a city managers meeting, a few months ago now, and there was concerns about, committing this money for now, but not future. We're going to commit it now, but it's more lawsuits coming. It's not going to be obligated that you keep giving this money. So from the feedback we had from that city managers meeting, we made some changes there. And some of it is vague. It says, reporting will be decided upon each jurisdiction. But we can go more in the weeds and, even including in there, we're going to have a monthly meeting. Maybe it's every 2 months. What does that look like to review these numbers to see if this is worth the investment? And as we move for policies, to be able to discuss those. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And the city has a reporting responsibility from the opioid fund money that we receive. Will that be something that you'll be handling, or is that something that we still need to handle on our part?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So I've gotten 2 different answers from the state, is that if you make the commitment to pass the money up to the county, they could do the reporting. But then I heard from the Kentucky Opioid Advisory Commission that the cities may still have to do that and log in. If you would have to do that, we would provide you the reports. And then Amy in my office, Amy Martin, if needed to, she could come down with the portal. She's very well versed in it and put in those numbers if you wanted to. She went and helped Bellevue a couple months ago, helped them do their reporting. Right now, it doesn't seem too taxing, but this is a new commission. They just have new members joining that, and I think we're going to see some changes, and they're going to want more information. But my office and me directly will be working with those law enforcement navigators to make sure that we're covering everything that you need to put in there. My office also got a $1 million grant from the Opioid Abatement Commission, so we're on that reporting schedule anyways, and then any money that we're getting from the counties, we have to report there, so we're already used to that.
Okay.
So it's a yes and no, sorry.
Very good, thank you.
One last question. What happens if we take no action?
There's other cities still thinking about it. If you don't want to do a vote today and discuss, that is fine. I can get you more information if you want to think about it. We have some cities already committed, and it's your timeline.
Well, the question is, I guess, is if we commit and we have a resource assigned to this jurisdiction,
Yes.
if we don't commit, I mean, do we not have a phone number to call anymore, or is it status quo with, with Chief Hall's department, connecting the dots? What happens?
Well, I can't speak for Judge Knockelman in the fiscal court or Chief Jones, but I would imagine you would still have contact. I don't know if you would have as much concentration, and they might have to look at some of those more high-risk calls of, what really needs to be there, and they would probably have to pick some categories just to be able to cover the area.
I guess I'm just confused as to what changes happen if no action is taken. Because it sounds like this is a great supplemental program to what is happening now in the effort to make what is happening now better.
Right.
So if we take no action, we're still in broken system, but services are still provided.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And any of the services I talked about today, your police can still call. If you have community members, they can refer to my helpline. We're still going to get those connected if they want to call the Life Learning Center. Some of the things my office can do too is we can provide Narcan at no cost to your police department. We can work with the state. My office can do that to all the city employees. We can do it to every community member as well. So there's still resources available to you. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that we're waiting for is the ILA before we,
Sure.
we want to see that and have it reviewed
Yes.
before we are taking any action on it. So I can tell you that right now that we're in a holding pattern.
Okay.
Is this an annual commitment? So like if we would do the initial 17,000, I think, then next year, do we have to re-up? So it's a going funding commitment.
So, just if there were cities that decided that it was no longer in their budget to do this, how are the costs disparate?
The county's gonna cover them.
Okay.
Yeah, the county's
Will it
gonna.
fall back on the cities that are contributing?
That'll be up for negotiation. Some of the cities might have extra money to contribute, once their opioid funds are depleted. Some of them are not going to. I still think if there's some folks that are in dire need of Crescent Springs and needed a police social worker, which we've seen, before. Bellevue doesn't have one yet, but Alexander's gone down there because it was a family that really needed something. It just wouldn't cover the whole area, but it would be a case by case. I can tell you Bellevue, Dayton, Southgate, and Wilder are coming on board as well, and they'll be partnering with Campbell County in the same way we're asking Kent County to partner with the fiscal courts. And that's how Boone County has done it as well. So that's running out of the sheriff's office in partnership with the fiscal court to cover all the cities in Boone County.
And it's 3 social workers for the county.
Yes,
Okay.
but that will not count for independent
Yes,
program.
okay. Yep, okay, thank you.
Is that $100,000 per social worker?
Mr. Flaherty, can you, I'll call you in just a second, once all of council has all their questions answered, I'll call on you.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from council have any other questions before I open the floor to the residents? Mr. Flaherty, please come to the microphone.
Okay. Yeah. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, my question is, you need 3, is that correct for the county? Is that $100,000 per person? So you need 300,000.
Exactly.
Okay. And then my other question is the law enforcement navigator the same as the police social worker?
It is. They're just calling different names in different counties, yes.
If it reduces, if I gather what you're saying correctly, if I may interject, thank you. The whole purpose of this is to reduce ultimately crime and the impact on the community. So that while there may not be a dollar for dollar reduction in police force, and we like Chief Hall and his force, ultimately it would lower the burden for the community, not just Crescent Springs, but all the other communities. And we would all save money because we wouldn't be seeing more than $300,000 go out the door needlessly. Is that a fair summation?
That's fair.
Seems like a bargain to me. Thank you.
I have one more question, I'm sorry. On the budget, it has gasoline and mileage listed twice.
Oh,
Are there
good.
2 different vehicles that we're fueling here, personal and owned?
Oh, no, I was just trying to put that
Okay.
at the bottom, and my hate's trying to get this together today.
Understood.
Yeah, there is the vehicle insurance. I was told, it relates to me, I don't know if it's definite, but Kent County would provide the vehicles.
Okay.
We've written grants before, I paid for a car at Alexandria, but it's, you can't get a used car for the same amount of price anymore, but Chief Jones said that there would be there, and so that's why we say roughly $100,000.
Chief Hall might be solving here soon.
Not, before we go on, Chief Hall, you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm in agreement with waiting to see any kind of comparison with the ILA, and we can kind of go further with however reporting, because those conversations have not taken place with myself or with Chief Jones at all. So I'll just kind of wait till that happens.
Absolutely. And if you want, what we can do too is put together, once we get that agreement out, which it should be any day now, if we want to put together a meeting with Chief Jones, the other police chiefs, we can do that. Because of course, it's one thing for me to come up here as Director of Social Services and Policy to talk about, you want to talk to somebody in law enforcement. I get that, absolutely.
Anything else? We thank you for your time. Appreciate both of you coming in this evening and sharing this information with us.
Thank you.
Great presentation.
I'll get some follow-up numbers.
There's one I found was this wheelchair for
But that's going to like running here. I have a card. I'll get you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda and Chris.
Thank you both very much.
Well done, thank you.
Chief Went, Fire Department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'll be quick as possible. 37 fire calls for August, 365 year-to-date, 96 ambulance calls, 802 year-to-date. Our ambulance was a recipient of what's called the Door to Needle Award for the month of August, and basically what that means is our crew recognized someone was having a stroke. The first hour is critical of getting them to the hospital. We got them to the hospital and within 28 minutes. So St. Elizabeth came, they presented the award to Bill Hills because the person was a Bill Hills resident. This is actually our second award for this, and the first award took place at the firehouse. So hopefully nobody in Crescent Springs needs that, but 28 minutes is pretty impressive for stroke reversal. The award was also based on the fact that it was a positive outcome for the patient, so they made a full recovery from the stroke. The firehouse update, I'm thankful for everybody who came to the open house and helped us out. It looks like the final numbers are going to come in $15,425.37 under budget. So, which is quite a remarkable thing on Jim Cahill's part to be able to get that close with the budget. We have a few items left on the punch list. We hope to have those knocked out here shortly. I want to thank the City Council for recognizing the problem on Euclid and Enid. Many times and twice in the last 10 years, we've had structure fires at that corner. 2 different houses. It's been our policy to send fire trucks 2 different directions. That way, if one gets stuck behind traffic or parked cars on Enid, then the other one coming in from Euclid can go ahead and attack the fire. So this will help out tremendously for us. We will still continue to operate the same way that we're doing, but lessens the amount of traffic for us. A couple events coming up. Heroes Day is October 1st, which takes place at the orphanage in Fort Mitchell. It's Crescent Springs, Fort Mitchell, Edgewood, and Fort Wright take place. We display all of our equipment, as well as the police departments. And then the last thing I have is Home Depot Safety Day is October 5th. I do have one more thing. I don't want to alarm anybody with air care. Is coming Thursday at 1 o'clock. Specifically to land in our parking lot to use that as an alternate landing zone. So once we get the okay with their pilots, we are going to put some their solar lights in the parking lot that helps mark where they land. So very inexpensive, but Air Care was very interested in that proposition.
Is that for just our jurisdiction? Is that for other jurisdictions to come here?
So originally it was just for our jurisdiction. We had 7 landing zones. Normally we use Sportsman's Warehouse. However, the parking lots become more and more crowded. Air Care likes to have alternate places. I could tell you the story way back that the helicopter flew in less than ideal conditions. It got icy. They landed at R.E. Jones. The helicopter sat there for 3 days. So that would be the kind of scenario that if they're en route to UC and they need to go to another place, that would be our fire department.
Chief, that's the second one of those awards in under a year.
It is, yes.
So, I mean, I know that you don't like to brag, but that's 2 in a year is pretty impressive, so well done.
Thank you. The hospital is about 8 minutes away, so 28 minutes, that leaves us about less than 20 minutes with the patient. So.
And that includes getting there, so well done, Chief.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the Fire Authority meeting that we need to address here while the chief's here? Good deal. Thanks, Chief. Chief Hall.
Good evening, Council.
Thanks for your report, Chief.
Yes, sir. I'll make
It was abbreviated.
That was abbreviated. I know you guys have a heavy agenda tonight, so I know everybody got a copy of my report. If anybody has any specific questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'll try to answer them. Just a couple high points I want to touch base on. We've been taking a lot of calls for scams, reference our elderly population, people calling. I want to warn all the residents, the police department is not going to call you and say that you have a warrant. Okay, we're not going to tell you, we will just show up at your house and let you know that you have a warrant. We're not going to give you forewarning on that. Please do not be subjected to these scams that are calling and saying, hey, if you go up to Walgreens and buy a bunch of Green Dot cards or gift cards or Bitcoin, that this is going to get you out of a warrant or get you some kind of, gratification or something to resolve something legally. This is not, this is in fact a scam. So if you are in question of that, please call us. Let us help you out and guide that. Do not subject yourself to losing, at least in one case of ours, was $25,000 from one of our residents that got scammed out of $25,000 that they willingly gave to these people. They're not from around here, obviously, they're international, but regardless of that, please just be aware of the scams out there. Just a couple points of department news. Sergeant Black and Officer Calera did attend the Red Dot instructor course, so all of our officers have been qualified on the new Red Dot missiles, which are just basically, it's not a laser, but it's an aiming mechanism that's on top of our duty missiles. Appreciate all that assistance in that. Those have obviously been assigned out. We had a great turnout for the Tunnels to Tower race, September 14th. Firehouse was this past Saturday. Fall Festival is this Saturday upcoming. There will be a crosswalk and police presence there as well. Hopefully the rain and hurricane can hold off for us, but I'm not sure how that's going to work out too well. Rain. I know, but it says it. I don't know. We did special thanks to Kramer's for in the month of September. We did hold a Kramer Cruiser event. Does a great job on all the staff up there. We've got a great amount of donations to give to the River Ridge FRC, so thank you for that. And the last thing I will say, as of this morning at 9 o'clock, we swore in 2 new officers and we are fully staffed.
Congratulations.
Is the scam on the money for an older person a scam?
Yes, sir.
It's not limited to police, they say they're for the IRS.
And it is, but we're not going to call, I'd say that
IRS
for
doesn't call you
IRS, FBI, I mean, IRS will not call you.
Very courteous of you to give a heads up though.
I'm sorry, sir.
So it's very courteous to give a heads up though.
Just want to give you that heads up. We'll just, I'll answer
That's
that.
sporting chance.
So the only thing that I'll add to your quick notes there is that I was speaking with Officer Black the other day and was mentioning about making sure vehicles are locked. They're parked in your driveway.
Yes.
Please make sure they're locked. It didn't happen in our city, happened in a neighboring city that maybe they protect and have their name on their shirts. But somebody had a weapon and didn't lock their car.
Lock your cars, lock your doors, lock your house.
Take your weapons inside when you're not in the car.
Anything valuable in your car, please take it inside.
When will, maybe it's public works, but when will Rogers reopen fully, do you know?
My understanding is it's got about another month and a half. So that, because what they're doing is they're doing a full depth replacement from the bridge all the way up to Sierra. The idea is that they're trying to keep one lane open at a time, and that lane is supposed to be from traffic coming from like Buttermilk going up the hill. They do not want traffic coming down the hill.
Yeah,
So the talk on that is potentially changing it to where it's just closed.
well, so one thing I've noticed, because I walk up there almost every morning, and I know that there's nobody there, so it's really not a big deal, but they're going both directions in the morning before crews arrive,
Right.
so I didn't know, I mean, just kind of a heads up there.
I think what you're going to see is speaking with Buck and Mr. Cagle and things like that. I think we're probably going to end up closing it down. To be quite honest with you, I hate to do that because I don't want to close it down, but our fire and police responses can still get through there, but limit it to the residents because they're not able to follow the signage.
Well, they can, they just go around it.
It says road closed. Don't go down.
Like, is it absolutely closed? No, I'm kidding.
Thanks, Chief. Public Works report, please.
Thank you. I'll be quick as well, just a few things to point out. The 731 Meadowwood blacktop failure will start this week. Hopefully the rain will hold off and not affect it too much, so we'll get that taken care of. The street sweeping has been completed. Our full-time employees take a fire class every couple of years. We just got a renewal on our fire class last week. And it's pretty much the event going on this weekend, Fall Fest, which April has put together. Public Works put a display out there just so people can take some pictures and stuff like that, if you guys see that. We did have one road shut down today, which was Main Street. Main Street had a water main break, so that road will be shut down. They're hoping that we move up tomorrow, but as of right now, they've got a pretty major flood going on it all the way to Eubanks Road, so we've been maintaining those drains there because of the flooding situation. Other than that, do you have any questions?
Do we, oh, go ahead.
Yep.
Can you include Short Amsterdam to get some repaving or repairing on that road? If you go there and look at it, even earlier in the summer and the spring, you can see there's a lot of potholes that are forming and it's gonna get worse.
So we have drove down Short Amsterdam, we do every week. Right now, there aren't any, I understand there's some uneven spots, but right now, there's no actual potholes to be.
Well, it's pretty bad to go there. You feel like you're driving a rickety rack. I mean, it's very uneven. It needs to be repaired. I would like to see that repaved from probably Crescent Springs to Forest Hill Estates. If we could put that into, we can find some money for the agenda to put that in.
So right now, we are working with Villa Hills on that, but it wouldn't be for this budget year.
I know, but the street can't wait to be repaired until next year. It has to be fixed. The potholes, or whatever you want to call them, now.
Okay, well, I'll get with Mr. Bailey and the mayor, and I'll talk to them about it.
It's bad. I mean, it's going to get worse when the winter weather sets in.
Okay.
And for you driving up your snow plow, it's going to be really hard to do.
Tanya, is there any updates on the stop sign there on Meadowwood where the water main break was?
Yep, I talked to them last week. They have it on the books. They said that they will get to it as soon as they can. Yeah, but it's the water district.
Can we put their feet to the fire on that? Like, that's the same update that we had last
Yes.
time, was like, it's on their books, it's on their books. Like, we give the residents 60 days to fix things. Like, why, I mean, I get we all have to play nice in the sandbox, but at the same time, that's getting deeper and deeper.
Yes.
Well, the problem I have with it is the same issue further down Meadowwood. It's the Bray truckings that come through there with,
Yes.
they're loaded with dirt. They spilled half their truck in my neighbor's front driveway that I think I told you about. It's, I don't know. I'd like to see an ordinance or something put together to hold these developers, builders accountable for these roads because they're tearing them up. So,
And even though the water district has a few other areas that they have to fix as well. So when I talked to them last week, they're gonna try to do them all in one day, so.
We were lucky enough, with what Donnie's saying, we were lucky enough to catch the broken culverts early before houses went up, so that there was really only one direction to take accountability to, and they handled it. We got lucky that they did instead of telling us to kick sand. So, I would hope that there's some form of pressure that we can put on the department, or the water department, to say, we'll have it done in, X amount of time. I mean, because the asphalt factories are gonna start closing down, all that stuff's gonna start closing down, right?
Yes, so it won't be for a while, but yes, they will close down in the winter time.
So, I mean, we could be looking at that hole that is no fault of our residents or no fault of our own until weather breaks in March.
I would have to ask him. I would say not, no. I'm pretty sure every week I contact him, and every week he tells me that they're gonna get to it. So I'm gonna keep up with it, keep going to him, and hopefully he gets there as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
I was gonna say, there's also other areas I've noticed, there's that stop sign in front of my house.
Yep.
Slopes down, there's one in front of my neighbors, I mean, there's, throughout the entire Meadowwood crossings, it's getting worse.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know if we work that into the budget all at once, or, what's,
So right now, my suggestion is wait until construction is done, because if we fix
that's
that
a couple years away.
right now, then they're gonna just continue to do it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I think we need to get the developer or the builder involved.
They're not gonna pay for it.
Why not? They're the ones tearing up the road.
You can be my guest if you want to try to call Fisher and Wessels, they will not.
Why don't
pay
we
for
put an
it.
ordinance together?
That's up to you.
Right?
You want to sponsor an ordinance, that's up to you.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
I'm not sure. Mr. Baker, if we can hold a private entity responsible for damage to a public road like that, but
I
that
don't
would
think we
be,
can do it by ordinance, I'll put it that way.
I'm sorry?
I don't think we can do it by ordinance, I'll put it that way. Whether there's a cause of action, I won't venture there yet, but
Well, I just don't understand why the taxpayers are responsible for these roads that
they're dedicated
these
public
developers
streets.
are tearing up.
They're dedicated public streets.
I understand that.
Once they become dedicated and they're public, it's the responsibility of the public body, whether it's the city, the county, or the state. I understand your point, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of sympathy for what you're saying, but you just can't pass an ordinance and say, you know, Fisher is responsible for the repair on it just doesn't work that way. It's what I would call an ex post facto law, so.
So what would be our course of action as a city council? To
Certainly send a letter of protest, objecting and asking. And if there's any, I'm not gonna tell you that there's no recourse at this point, I don't know that. But I'll take a look at it. I mean, part of it's gonna be causal evidence, gotta prove it.
Well, I can tell you the day that the damage that we're getting ready to repair up on Meadowwood, I was home that day. I saw it progressively get worse throughout the day. Same with the stop sign at the top of,
I'm not saying that we can't get it, I'm just saying that that would be a linchpin.
So to that end, I mean, perfect example, there's 4 streets back there right now that are fully ready to go, brand new roads that don't have House 1 built on them. I mean, we could take a look at those things. You can already see gouges out of it from people dropping ramps and track vehicles going up and on it. I know that the city's aware of it. I know that everybody's kind of keeping an eye on it. But that would be a perfect example of something that we can document over time as things happen, to where we're not putting, you know, the residents on the hook, or at least attempting not to put the residents on the hook for repairing and paving roads that don't even have a house on them today.
This might be covered by PDS subdivision regulations.
They've already released, I'm sorry, yeah, go ahead.
We're already working with Fisher.
Well,
And
culverts,
Wilson's.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
And we're also keeping an eye on a weekly basis, the area back there, Director Miller and myself, and we'll stay on top of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if we can document it as it goes and as it happens, there's, you know, Mr. Baker's evidence that he was asking about. So at least that helps a couple other streets. And it doesn't fix everything.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you. I have something I want to say. Thank you for getting the spelling corrected on Forest Hill. It was 2 words and it's 1. You did that in the New York Minute. I thank you very much.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Mayor's report, I'll be very brief. Tax bills we mailed on September 30th. And also, this weekend from 5 to 9 in Lou Hartfield Memorial Park is Fall Fest. There'll be music by Velvet Soul from 6 to 9. There's games and activities for the kids from 5 to 8. Food and beverage vendors, and then fireworks at 9 o'clock by Vito's. So hopefully the weather holds out and we can have an incredible time. And that's all I have. Mr. Daly.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I have 5 items I'd like to touch on in my report. The first one is the city audit. The status, the audit has been completed by the Chamberlain's group. Next step is to schedule a presentation by the auditor at a future council meeting, or targeting October or November for the session. And I do want to say thank you to April Robinson for all of her due diligence and hard work in getting the audit ready for the auditors. It took them a day and a half, which that was the shortest they have been here in a few years. So April definitely was organized, on top of things, and anything they needed or asked for, April had. She's very, very organized. So thank you. You make my job a lot easier.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Harris Avenue project update. The final cost of this project exceeded the initial estimate of $92,915 by $17,279, bringing the total to around $110,000. The cost breakdown. City MRA month funding will be a little under $24,000. The state MRA funding is around $74,340. SD1, Sanitation District Number 1, with the cost sharing program they have in place, there will be $12,556 covered there. Due to SD1's cost sharing, the city is only over budget by $4,722.75.
And we're not over budget because we have the money budgeted, it's just we're over the projection that may affect a different project, but we're not over budget.
Yes, I appreciate that. And Burling Engineering has selected Eaton Asphalt, is that correct?
Yes.
Company to do the work. And I think, can you give a time estimate on when they're thinking about getting started on that?
I can find out.
Okay. Traffic safety issue at Enid and Euclid intersection. I have my concerns and proposed solution and communication that took place. I really don't need to say anything else. I think Chief Wentz put it out there very, very well. Thank you, Chief Wentz. Just so everybody knows, in these kind of situations, letters were sent out to the residents in the affected area, informing them of the proposed changes, along with the fact that there was going to be a meeting tonight, and these changes were going to take place in that area with the no parking zone.
I received one comment back from a resident who lived there, thanking us for taking the action because it was a daily problem on that corner where Enid goes into Euclid and cars parked there and difficult to get any vehicles through there. School buses, fire trucks, ambulances, garbage trucks, the whole 9 yards. So I received one letter in response to the letters we sent, thanking us for taking the action.
My fourth item is the Michael Scott Bubba Wilson Memorial Highway dedication. Just a reminder, it's going to be on Tuesday, October 22nd. That's actually Bubba's birthday. 6 p.m. on the front steps of the Crescent Springs Hardware store. And the last thing I have is I will be out of town starting on Saturday. And I will return on Saturday, October 5th, and I'll be back in the office on Monday, October 7th, just so everybody is aware. And one last thing off of my report, I'm going to thank her again. But I do want to thank her ahead of time, April Robinson, along with the Villa Hills Committee that works with April on the Fall Fest and preparing it and getting things ready and organized to go for this Saturday. It's not something that happens a month before. It's something that happens when Fall Fest ends on Saturday. They go back to the committee meetings and start getting ready for the following year. So much kudos to April and Villa Hills for all the work they've done up to this point. And Saturday will turn out to be a great day. Thank you.
Adding to that, Sue from Villa Hills complimented you quite a bit, that you had everything all figured out from the year before, as far as putting it together for the Fall Festival.
Thank you.
Let's keep the right away.
Yeah. I'll try.
Under old business, next steps of the park, I just want to kind of bring everybody up to date. I've been emailing with the state on a weekly basis. They promise us that we will be in the next batch that they put with the National Park Service. I asked today for a time when that next meeting was. Still waiting for a response. They typically take 3 to 5 days to respond, but We are in discussion with them. You know, it is a high priority of mine, and I know of councils to get this resolved and get the park back open to where it should be. We're ready to go once the National Park Services says you're totally approved. So we're kind of at their mercy right now. Even though the Lieutenant Governor came and had a photo op for herself, we still don't have the money. So, and we don't have permission to spend our money and be reimbursed. So we're at their disposal, just waiting for that. The other item of business, and it kind of segues back into what Mr. Daly was talking about, and something that Mr. Barclay mentioned last week, was just to have some sort of committee or ad hoc committee or something, ad hoc group for, as we get information about the roads back in the older section of town. I mean, we just had the issue with the parking. We have the discussions going on, waiting on the report from the engineer on possibility of needing to make some roads one way, which is something that the resident that wrote to me actually brought up in her letter, was that maybe there needed to be some one-way roads. So I think that might be on the right track. We'll need to see. I'm not an engineer. So I am interested in putting together at least an ad hoc group, and then we'll see how discussions go and whether we make it a full-fledged committee. I'm not going to ask Mr. Barclay if he wants to be on it. I'm going to tell him he's going to be on it. Is there anyone else that would like to be on that committee?
I would be able to consider it.
Okay.
I think it would be nice if we had one or two people from Old Crescent Springs also.
Which is why I'm not making it a committee at this point. Let's get some structure as to what we want, and then we'll go and, so let the two of you right now, involving Mr. Daly and myself, let's kind of set a frame for what we want, what we think might be appropriate, and then move forward from there.
Just putting this out there, I own property on Eden.
Right.
So if there's any potential conflicts, Mr. Baker, help me navigate those waters. But just being as transparent as I can be.
It's not at the corner of Enid and Euclid, is it?
No. It is not.
Very good. Next item. Municipal Order 2024-9, amending appointment to the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Municipal Order 2024-9, the municipal order of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, amending appointment to the Finance Committee, whereas the city enacted Municipal Order 2024-1, in which membership to several committees, including the Finance Committee, was approved by City Council, and whereas Bill Scholl, who served on the Finance Committee, moved out of the city, and whereas the mayor desires to appoint Robert Bob Mueller to serve on the Finance Committee for the balance of 2024, now therefore be it ordered by the mayor and the City Council of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, the mayor hereby appoints Robert Bob Mueller to serve as a member of the Finance Committee for the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky. Section 2, Robert Bob Mueller shall have such duties, obligations, rights, and privileges as provided by ordinances and laws of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and the United States of America. Official action on behalf of the city can only be taken by City Council as a whole. Nothing in this municipal order allows either a committee or an individual committee member to act on behalf of the city without approval of the City Council.
And Mr. Mueller, just so you know, those rights and privileges just mean extra meetings. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Don Kylie,
Yes.
Carol McGowan,
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith,
Yes.
Bob Mueller,
Sorry.
Brian Barclay,
Yes.
Second item is municipal order 24-10, adopting changes to parking areas at the end of Enid and Euclid Avenues.
Thank you. Municipal Order 2024-10, a municipal order of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, adopting changes to parking areas on Enid Avenue and Euclid Avenue. Whereas in conjunction with the police of the City of Villa Hills and the fire chief of the Crescentville Fire Authority, the mayor has reviewed and determined that changes to the parking areas located at the intersection of Enid Avenue and Euclid Avenue in the City of Crescent Springs need to be made. And whereas as a result of these changes, no parking signs have been placed at the corner where Enid Avenue intersects with Euclid Avenue to allow school bus and other safety and emergency vehicles to pass unimpeded and safely. And whereas said changes are authorized through section 72.14 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, now therefore be it ordered by the mayor and the city council of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, that there shall be no parking beginning at the point where Enid Avenue intersects with Euclid Avenue, where 2550 Enid Avenue meets Euclid Avenue, and continuing thereafter for 90 feet east on the southern side of Euclid Avenue, now known as 737 Euclid Avenue. The provisions of 72.14 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Crescent Springs shall be in full force and effect with respect to that designated area as no parking.
Thank you. And just for clarity for everybody, I know that Mr. Daly sent out a document. This is the turn where Enid goes into Euclid. If you're coming from Western Reserve, it'd be on the right-hand side, and it's that full turn so vehicles can make a safe turn onto Euclid. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Don Kylie,
Yes.
Carol McGowan,
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith,
Yes.
Bob Mueller,
Yes.
Ryan Barclay,
Yes.
Thank you very much. Any other committee reports?
I got a question for Chief Hall.
Sir?
Based on what we heard tonight with the resource officer, I know we've talked in the past about hiring just a traffic officer. I guess I would want to know before we made a vote on this, what's your thoughts and opinions?
Chief, can you come up to the microphone, please?
Um,
We've had comments that people can't hear
No,
when they
you're
don't.
fine, that's not a problem. You're talking about the navigator program, is that what I'm saying? Or?
Yeah, but we've talked about, all the traffic complaints, people calling in.
Sure. In comparison to the cost, I mean, that was a spitball idea that I'm kind of trying to, come up with down the road.
Yeah.
Because that still is going to cost, for another full-time officer, you're looking at $140,000 to $160,000. So that money's not, that's a whole different issue. The idea behind, just potentially just a self-dedicated, traffic officer that will handle basically all the traffic complaints that we have, our speeding issues, traffic reconstruction, serious collision, things like that. You're still looking at a whole additional of another officer. So you're between $140,000 and $160,000. The amount of money that is going towards this program is obviously much less than that, and I do see a benefit for being able to have our officers be able to push. It's not the right phrase, but to be able to have the resources to be able to turn to, at least more readily available. Because right now it's a little bit of a bunch of red tape to try to get some help, and it takes a lot of hoops, loops, and swirls. Where it would be here we go, and that sets the ball in motion. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. I'm just curious, the calls, traffic calls compared to.
We get, obviously, if you did any kind of typical study, the number one complaint people are going to have is probably traffic-related issues, at least the majority of residents. And we try to tackle those with the manpower and the resources that we have right now, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Any other committee reports? Yes, ma'am.
I just attended the Firehouse Authority. It was a wonderful time. I met a lot of great people. It was a great time. The hot dogs were great. It was really an opening to me to see what's going on and how important that the Firehouse Authority is to our city. And that was a fabulous time.
Great.
I even had some pictures that I give to Mike Daly and he'd like to post them. I have a picture of me standing by the old firehouse, fire truck. How old is that?
1922.
We had a fire department in 1923, is that correct?
28.
28. Crescent Springs did
That
that.
was at the firehouse too.
Distance.
I was almost a member then.
Wow.
Any other committee reports? Any citizen comments? Mr. Flaherty.
I just have a question that arose because of the meeting. On the old Crescent Springs Road ad hoc group, I'll ask Mr. Baker, is that subject to the open meetings statute, an ad hoc group?
I'd have to look. I don't know, off the top of my head.
Okay, would you find out, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Presumption generally is that it would be, but
Okay, all right,
we'll take a look.
thank you.
Mr. Smith.
I heard that from all the way up here.
I'm telling you.
Man, those wheels.
Just want to say, Janine, got to visit the firehouse, and it's first-class place there. You all know me, I'm beating that dead horse about that $3 million, and I do want to just play something here real quick, just so y'all don't think I'm crazy.
Let's make sure to clarify that Brain Center gave us a lot of confidence in their interview that they can indeed complete the firehouse we want for $5.3 million. Yeah. Based on their experience of number of firehouses that they have designed, we felt comfortable.
And that's the reason I've been beating that dead horse, is because when I first seen that meeting, I thought, hey, that's cool. But, shortly thereafter, that went up, it exploded. So I just want to let you all know that's why I've been up here complaining about that money.
And that also was pre-pandemic.
Well, yeah, it was 2021, and also they said that the firehouse would be completed in 1 year, and it took, I think, 3 years to this last September. But I guess my point is, whenever we have another project of this size, I would highly recommend that we don't have council members running the show, we have professionals running it. Because this is what happens when you have people that are inexperienced. You have a project that ran over 2 years, it ran over $3 million, and not only that, like I said, beautiful facility. But the concrete up there, I was talking to the chief a little bit before the meeting, got some problems up there, and talking to him, the contractor is acting like they don't want to fix it, and I think they should. And if they don't, I think the city should take them to where they need to go to get this resolved. Because if they give you even a 3 or 4 or 5 year warranty on that, I mean, it's already in bad shape. I mean, it's horrible. I walked down that hallway there, and it looks like a lot of stress fractures. And it looks like they've sealed them already, and the seal's already busted out of it. So, as a city and/or Villa Hills as well, I think you all should combine your forces and go after them over this concrete issue, because concrete's the major factor in your building. So, I'll leave it at that. And then also, Don, your comment on the roads being destroyed is something that I used to deal with when I worked out in Independence. We had several hundred streets in the time that I was out there, and we had to accept them, like the counselor said there. After 90 days, I believe it was. I can't recall now, but I would maybe work with Planning Commission and see if they can hold back that until those streets are actually developed and finished, and then accept them. And then, before then, you can make them guys pay for that work. Now, I don't know if that's feasible or not, but I think that would be an avenue to look at as far as acceptance after 90 days, prolonging. And because it's a big factor when it comes to expenses on these roads. I mean, it's huge. And like I said, we added several hundred, if not 300 better, when I was out there. And I mean, it was very problematic. So I feel your pain, and I feel Tanya's pain. So. Planning Commission meets once a month.
Yeah, and hey, I'd be more than happy to go there as well. I mean, I'll be right there with you all, and saying, hey, you need to hold off on this. So, I think that's about all I have, and go Bengals.
I have a question, and I could be dating myself a little bit. Mike may recall. When some subdivisions were put in, there was at one time a performance bond that the developer would put up. And that did not die until the full development was in. Is that no longer in vogue? Is it?
No, you're right on spot. That is one of the options. But the developer also has the other option of removing the performance bond, and then it comes back on the city within 90 days.
So they have the right.
According to Ken County subdivision regulations, yes, it's in clear record. I can send that to you if you want.
No, I remember that term, performance bond, as a way to recoup expenses for things like
Right.
roads that
Right.
get tore up by trucks as the subdivision is being built. But you're saying they can
They can either keep that bond in place, like Brian has said, until the homes are built out, or once the street is built and the curbs are in and the sidewalks in, they can also go to the planning commission and PDS and release that, or ultimately in a certain amount of days it comes back on the city.
Okay, all right, so they have that leverage, not
Yes.
not the city.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And it's worth noting too, to your point, is like phase 1, 2, and 3, they waited till all houses were done. Phase 4 is still being built, phase 5 is done. Or phase 5 hasn't even been started, and all the roads in 4 and 5 are released. So they definitely did it on a different timetable as the project progressed.
Anything else, council? Hearing nothing, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all.
Business cards, if anybody wants to,